just open that, and I will go ahead and send this over to the chats and such. All right. It's waiting for 2 guys, 1 pod? Why are you waiting? Oh, no. There we are. Cool, we're on that. I don't need to fucking listen to that other Addi. Alright, let me send that to myself. I will post it up, and then we'll get started here. Dude,
oh, cool.
We got some crazy movement from the social media feature this week. Hell of people are posting that up.
Nice. What do you think caused the change?
I think it's consistency, man. Like, I hate that it's something as silly and simple as that, but, like, I think it's just about, like, showing up, doing all the social mediaing every single week, and, like, that actually keeps it going. Which, like, it makes sense. I totally get that, but, like, it's also just infuriating to have it be like, what's the signal, what's the noise? And it's like, no, you just gotta keep fucking pounding your head against a wall for 8 weeks and it'll start working.
Right. Hey, you gotta stay consistent. Yeah, it seems like Chev's getting more, I don't know, it just seems like more people are posting.
Yeah. Chev's, like, just on, he's on 12 shows a week, like... of course he's getting traction. He should be. If he's not, I don't know what more he could be doing. Alright, let me get a photo on here for the 2 guys, 1 pod. I don't know why I don't have this anywhere near the top of my, like, photo gallery. I don't have it, like, pinned. So every time I scroll about a year down and find the logo...
Gotta favorite it.
Yeah, I really
what I did during the best ball season, because I wanted the week 15 through 17 schedule, was I just made a note. So I could just go to notes and it was always there. It was way easier than going to favorites still.
Yeah, that's... Smart man. Smart man there. See, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to be in the exact same situation and forget this until next week. Alrighty. Pasting from Edison's iPhone. I'll share that. Okay, let me post her up there. Or, actually, I'm going to cancel that and try again, but I'm going to actually tag you and say anything about the show in the post when I do that.
Perfect.
Dude, honestly, even our bets aren't that bad. Like, we're hitting like 50%, 60% on a good week, which is okay. I want to be closer to that 60 to 70 range.
Oh, I mean, 70% is pretty tough. So if we can be 60, that'd be very good. I mean, goal number 1, get to even consistently, and then goal number 2, start to turn it into profits. So
bingo.
Still a little bit too reactionary sometimes I can be. So we'll talk about that. Oh, yeah.
Dude, I don't think you're very reactionary at all. You're so much less reactionary than me. Actually, I make... Once I react, I just stick to that for at least a couple months.
Sometimes I hear one thing and then it gets me stuck on a take, and then I find it hard to get off of it. Or I definitely find myself having recency bias. Like, I just heard something or read something, and then, of course, all of a sudden it's the best line that's existed. So.
Yep. And then once you've, like, bought into it, it's so hard to be like, okay, and now I can, like, swap it up. It's like, nah, once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
All right, let me send this to our retweet group. And we are officially... And you're gone.
Perfect timing, right?
You can walk out.
No, I'm good. I was opening up the door next to me. No, I was opening up the door next to me.
All 2 of our viewers are going to be really disappointed. on that live stream. Well, let's break it down. We got the intro, and let's get it going. We have stuff to talk about. I like that we have this like pre-script. It's good for the outros. Yeah, I like the little cameos in there. We'll play around with that.
Yeah, I love the screens now.
Okay, now let's get this bad boy on the air and hit it. Welcome in. We are Two Guys, One Pod. Intro just ended. We are live on the air, and we may not cut the live stream at 8 minutes this time. We'll see. If my finger slips again, we might talk for 45 minutes after it stops recording like me and Chev did this weekend. But I am Addi, the Duck League champ. You can find my work on the App Store and Google Play Store at League Champ, the little duck logo. Scott, how you doing today?
Doing great. Happy that it's Thursday. Perfect fall weather going on right now in California. Got sunny, leaves falling, but 75, 80 degrees. So stoked to be here and stoked that there's a football game. This morning I was like, there's nothing I like in this Ravens-Miami game. But sure enough, 3 o'clock hits every week. I do my weekly picks with my buddy Dan, and then here we are on the show an hour later. So football's in full effect. Too many lines have been flying here in the last hour.
Yeah. I mean, I have the most mixed emotions about this game because, like, I'm doing great this year. Like, I'll be honest, the 3 leagues that I'm struggling in the most is, 1, the rebuilder that I'm in with you, and my 2 home leagues. And in my 2 home leagues, one of them struggling because Lamar Jackson's been out, and the other one's gonna be struggling tonight because Lamar Jackson's in. So...
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking it's a big night for Lamar Jackson. He seemed pretty healthy to kick off the week, right into full participation. Miami's pass defense has been bottom 3 to 5, depending on what statistic you're looking at. And I think Lamar will be pretty comfortable in the pocket tonight, sling it all around the field. So I like a lot of the wide receiver overs. Surefire loss on a Thursday.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big D-Hop week. You know it is.
But
God,
not on my list, actually.
I just spoke that into existence. But we could talk about Thursday night all day. We're going to break down how we did last week. And let's start with the bad. Bijan Robinson and the Falcons stunk.
Man, that was bad. And he barely got to tote the rock at all. Kirk Cousins, people had a little bit of optimism a year coming off of injury, and they were horrible. Drake London out. I heard a bunch of people swapped Mooney into their Sunday morning DFS lineups for his 1 catch. It was a game I wanted to stay away from. I think I put skip in the show doc, and it turned out to be a full-blown skip.
We should have skipped. Yeah, we should have skipped.
And I did play the Bijan, so yeah.
I love you calling back the skip. That's funny as all.
The other one I believe was the New Orleans Buccaneer game, another skip.
Yeah, you were right on those. Yeah, you put skip on like 6 of the 8 games, to be fair.
Buffalo Bills, I believe that was the 3rd one, also a skippable game.
You were just like, hey, you know what? There are 2 games that are going to be fun this week, and we're talking about those. But yeah.
Well, what was it a week? I think the favorites were 12-2, and the overs were like also 12-2. So basically, it was all about being in on the favorites and the overs last week.
Yeah, you aren't wrong at all. And to be honest, like, there are going to be weeks like that. We should hone in on the games that we really have the most conviction on, that are going to be good gambling environments, because people want to take those overs. And if you're going a lot of unders, which I have this year, you might do well on money, but you're going to be real scared watching the football game. You want to root for an over. an over we rooted for this past week was Devon Achan over 29.5 receiving yards, and he did not hit that. And we also hit Rico Dowdle over 1 touchdown, and boy, did the Panthers not look good.
Yeah, they stunk, and they're not set up for success this week against Green Bay. So I haven't been playing too much Achan. Actually, the wife hit a 3 TD parlay this last week. Brees Hall, Achan, and George Kittle, of course, on National Tight Ends Day. So that was a great hit for her. Nice $150 profit for someone who never does any of it, but picks a couple of her favorite players, and it was good to see.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Love to hear money coming into the Malatesta family there. We had Olave and Shaheed playing well, but when Tyler Shuck came into the game, he could not chuck the ball very well. So we'll just move straight on over that one. Dallas money line is one I want to talk to you about. That one's got to not feel great.
No, that does not feel great looking back at it. Heard a lot of people picking Dallas last week, thought I could be on the sharp side there, and not even close. Denver, an incredibly hard place to play. The Cowboys have been getting up for multiple games in a row, a perfect letdown spot. So we'll have to ask for that one back or win it back. How about that?
Of course. Yeah, and I thought the 12.5 for KC over Washington was a pretty safe bet, and that entire first half I was thinking, man, this was a smart play by me, and then Kansas City just put their foot on their neck and snapped Mariota right off. So I don't feel great about that one. They won by 20.
Yeah, I was worried about the Washington offense. The Kansas City defense has been so good all year, and Washington's been mediocre even with Jaden Daniels. So I know Mariota got it done in his first start this year, but this is a very different team in a very different spot. And Washington is underperforming overall. So I don't know if we are talking about them today, but yeah, we are. So another tough spot for them coming up this week, even with Daniels back.
Well, we will rush through the good here because we both feel great about it, but there's a lot to talk about this week. I'm actually pretty excited for the games going into this one. The first one we had was, has Atlanta earned those 7.5 odds? They had not. They did not earn them, and we continue to say they didn't. Next one, we have a new rule in the show, Doc. Roma Dunze, if it's under 60, you're taking that over. So
yep,
continue to make that happen.
And I ended up on a ladder on him, and he ended up crossing the 100-yard mark late in the game. So very profitable Rome day. And this week he takes on Cincinnati. So I know he hasn't been practicing much. I think he was a limited participant today. Okay, yeah. So he should be all right.
Receiving core was all good today. Aside from Bird.
Right. Bird now with the concussion. Looks like Komet will be back, but we'll have to do some Loveland love later because that's just part of the show. And yeah, excited to be back on Rome again this week, especially if Flacco's playing, right? It's going to be a completely different game if we go back to Jake Browning. But if Flacco's playing, I expect that game to be elevated on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring one no matter what. And Flacco was limited at practice today, so it is looking good for that to be a bit of a shootout. Next up, we had Philly at -7.5. Like those old lines, they ended up taking it to the Giants. Barkley put together a great one in that same one.
In 3 quarters.
Huge run. Yeah.
150 rushing in 3 quarters. Yeehaw.
Of course, because he's playing the Giants. Tataroa McMillan. I have a feeling we're going to have a Tataroa that line here eventually if these keep staying around those low 50 marks.
Yeah, they're staying around those low 50 marks week in, week out. I'm not sure this is the week I love it the most against Green Bay, but then again, that's why his line's around 50. He's going to get the targets. You're going to be in it. You're going to have a chance. So always a fun play. You're not going to be sitting there in the second being like, oh, what a ridiculous decision I made for this guy who's only going to play 50% of snaps. He's going to be out there on every play. He's going to get 7 or 8 targets, and they're going to be trailing. So there's always going to be a chance.
Yeah. Won't talk too long on Tampa. We had them winning by more than 4. They won by more than 4. Keep it at that. I added one to the show doc here. We have a new rule. Rashee Rice, if he's under 70, I'm taking that bet. I feel good about it. We saw enough this week. They want to get him the ball.
man, he's crushing it. I definitely like his reception numbers too, though those will probably be pretty high this week. It did take late in the game drives for both him and Worthy to hit their overs on Monday Night Football, but the job was done. We are seeing Worthy's lines suffer because of Rice's return, but I do think that there's some good deals to continue to pick up with these Worthy lines below 50, like mid 40s right now. So I targeted him last week, and I think I'm looking at them again.
I was looking at that same line before the show and thinking, there were one or two plays during that Washington game, too, where Pat Mahomes and him looked like they were maybe an inch or two off on a throw from turning a 25-yarder into a 50-yarder.
And that's where we're all last year. So to see that continuing down this path is a little frustrating, but he still did hit his over last week. So those of us who played that side are excited to get that win, but the line remains what it was the week before. Especially against Buffalo, whose defense has been terrible. That over-under is 52.5. I mean, 52.5, you got to be taking Worthy. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that game later.
Well, and if you're Buffalo, you got to be doubling Rice at this point. Like, that's where their offense is based off of. If you aren't, I don't see what you're doing, because Kelsey looks fine. He doesn't look great. But let's move it into the news and notes here. We'll start by doing a quick ad break for the League Champ app. Had some good movement over the past few weeks. Need the fourth in fantasy squad to stop winning all these freaking tournaments. Because eventually they're going to tell me it's rigged. But we have our ad break coming in here. It'll give us a chance to get some water and get my cat off of the freaking counter. Thanks. Hey, that was a solid 40 seconds of time for me to be afraid of my cat. Have I told you what, my cat's deal is?
No, I was noticing that you were afraid of your cat there, and I was like, this is very different than when my cat gets on the table.
Dude, I love my cat. She is by far the smartest animal that I have ever had. You know those buttons that dogs talk with?
Yeah.
My cat knows 10 of them.
Huh.
And, knows them. She is very good at them. She'll spam the I love you button and then press whatever she wants because she knows it'll get me to walk over. She's smart as shit. And she is so mean.
Wow.
Just for no reason, she'll just, I'll be walking down the counter and she'll just smack me. And I'll be like, dude, really? I was going to give you a treat. I'm not going to now.
Damn. It must be all that backpack time you put the kitten through when it was young.
I don't know, man. I
was always jealous.
A fantastic life. She is doing so well. She gets so much play. She has 700 toys. We even gave her a nice alcove area up on the top of our cabinet that she can chill in, so the dog can't mess with her. I digress. Let's move it into the news. We have a couple out players. The first one I want to lead with is Spencer Rattler is out. I'm not sure why. I don't know why you would bench your younger starting quarterback for Tyler Shuck, but to each their own.
Yeah, they invested more draft capital in him. This is this year's team, and they're not getting it done with Rattler. I mean, aren't they playing for a top 5 pick next year anyway and a new quarterback? So got to give the new guy a shot. You got about half the season remaining. He'll get to play 9 games, I think.
Yeah, so. I think he's only playing 6 or 7. But
to go back to Rattler
or Hainer, I don't know. What's the benefit of any of those guys? You guys are going straight back to the board for a quarterback no matter what. I didn't think Shuck had enough even at Louisville.
Yeah. Well, he was a 6th year, right?
Yeah, he was. So. That's why he's 26.
Enough said.
Oh my gosh, dude, chill. Not talking to Scott there. Cat is being a problem. But next up, we have Joe Flacco. I had him as out, but it is looking like he is likely to play, which thank goodness, because we saw enough of Jake Browning. Let's zoom straight by there, because we'll talk about that one. Ramondre Stevenson is out. Will we finally get to see Travion Henderson play football?
I sure hope so. I moved Travion in my starting lineup for the good juju. We've seen all the New England is trading for a running back rumors out there. Even if that's going to be the case, it's not going to happen in time for Sunday's game for somebody to take over a bigger role. And it could be purely related to this Stevenson injury. We hadn't heard any of these rumors until the day that it turned out that he wasn't at practice. He wasn't at practice again today. I definitely don't expect him this week. And it seems to me that it could be a longer-term injury based on these trade rumors.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard Jerome Ford, Tony Pollard. I've heard even Breece Hall, but I think that one's stupid. Breece Hall's not going anywhere. Next up, we got Pearsall. He seems likely to be out in this one. It's
still not practicing.
Yeah.
Not good. It's been 5 weeks now. Should have gone on IR. And I think I heard a quote the other day, but basically 5 for Pearsall. Purdy's been out for 4. They just keep trying to stretch these guys to get him back early. And in reality, the Niners are giving up roster spots for players who really should go on IR and get healthy. And still no Ayuk.
And they're managing, too. Despite that, honestly, I've been really impressed by what the Niners have been able to do with those limited roster spots, but it does seem like mismanagement on the part of the GM and the coaching staff. The next one here is super consequential. Isaiah Pacheco seems likely to miss a few weeks with an MCL sprain.
He came out week to week.
Richard. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So what are you going to do about it?
Probably nothing. But, I'll take a couple bets this week. I think it's great for the Kansas City passing game options. That is how I really feel about it, because we saw a ton of great play from Kelsey, from Rice, even from Worthy during last week. I think we're going to see that every game, which really cool. I love that.
Yeah, Mahomes is definitely getting it done this year, averaging well over 250 passing yards a game. I think he was at 299 the other day is where he ended up. And we've seen the Kareem Hunt experiment before, doing the base work last year when he was rushing for under 2 yards a carry. So hoping that we don't see too much Kareem Hunt here in the middle of the field, because we know what that lends to.
We are. Yeah, we're going to. But next up here, Calvin Ridley, no news. Moving past that, DeAndre Swift has not practiced this week, so that's terrifying. Roschon Johnson also hasn't practiced. I've heard Bears in the trade rumor category too. Would love to see them come up with Tony Pollard or Jerome Ford, but we'll see if that happens. If not, Kyle Monangai is a nice option this week.
Yeah, Monangai's been getting 40+% of snaps the last 2-3 weeks. I noticed him coming on. I think it was hidden by some garbage time 2 games ago when they ran the ball 40 times on Dallas. But he was getting good run early in the game too, and they've been splitting work throughout. So I think Monangai, fire him up this week against Cincinnati. I mean, geez, fire everybody up. Fire up Roschon, who's not even playing. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I love that too. I think the Bears offense has a chance to really put it together. I saw a lot of hate this past week, and honestly, I thought the Bears looked fine. That just didn't execute in the red zone. But we got a couple guys that are in. The 3 most consequential here are obviously Cole Kmet. Nah, I'm just kidding around. It's Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, and Michael Penix is likely to be back as well. Those first 2 are really going to change up the way we see stuff, but we're going to be talking about both of them during the show anyway, so we don't even have to start with them. Let's move it into Thursday night preview. The
Thursday night.
Yeah, I was trying to get one. Fuck yeah, that was really good, Scott.
All right, we'll work on
it. Yeah, that was great. Might have to crop that one out and use it again. Maybe make a graphic there. We got Lamar back. How are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit before, but Miami has been absolutely terrible pass defense. We've been trying to gash them on the ground, though actually that hasn't quite been the reality. So last week we watched Bijan do almost nothing on the ground. Granted, it was only on 8 carries. But the week before, everyone was all over the Judkins overs. He ended up coming up short of that line for the most part, despite a 45-yard run in the first quarter. I basically had considered it cashed, especially since he ran the ball 23 times after that. But in reality, he didn't get to his line. Where we do want to attack them, Miami, is through the air. They're getting almost no pressure on the quarterback with the league's worst pass rush score, and they're a bottom 5 defense in DVOA. So I like Lamar passing, and I love the Flowers ladder tonight. 80 plus, 100 plus, and 125 plus. Flowers has been really good this year, no matter the quarterback. Even with Huntley last week, who barely throws to wide receivers, Flowers is gashing defenses and getting wide open. I also kind of like Likely tonight. He's been percolating a little bit, a couple snaps ahead of Andrews. Haven't seen much yet, but with Lamar's return and Likely now 4 weeks removed from the injury, seems like a good night for him to hit a pretty low over.
Yeah, I really like that one, and I also think that Mark Andrews under is not a bad bet this week. I think Likely is going to start stepping into that role, and I think there's even a hairline possibility that they're going to try and move Andrews before the trade deadline. We'll see if that happens, but I think it is a possibility, and we have heard his name floated around. I also love Devon Achane at over 100 combined yards, plus 115. I am happy to take that. Baltimore didn't look great on defense this past week. The Bears really shot themselves in the foot. They were absolutely gashing them on the ground over the first 2 quarters. I think Miami could turn this into a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I think I am on the Ravens. I did end up taking them at minus 7.5, and then I did take the alt over 16.5. I do think Lamar's return. This is a big turning point for the Ravens. They got it done last week, even without Lamar at home. They still ended up winning by 14. So I was on minus 6.5 last week. I think I announced that on the show. Wasn't the best line going in, but still thought they had a chance at it, and sure as hell took care of it. So good to see that, and I think they keep rolling here. Last chance to go grab your Ravens Super Bowl tickets, your Ravens division winner tickets, your Lamar MVP tickets. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're like, oh, this guy sat out half the season, but if the Ravens come back from 1-5 and they're a top 2 seed or top 3 seed, and it's been on the back of Lamar, you never know. He was kind of taking one away from last year. You're definitely going to need Mahomes to backtrack. I think May, who's another front runner right now, is just going to naturally backtrack. But MVP, this is the time of season to start looking at those guys who are kind of seen as like no shot. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts lines right now are probably pretty good as well. So let's see what the MVP odds are.
Honestly, you could even see Caleb putting it together at the back half of the season. Fingers are crossed there. That might be wishful thinking. But
I don't know if they're going to win enough.
Yeah. Dak, I actually feel like, is a non-zero possibility to be in that discussion as well. With Pickens and Lamb in, you have that offense healthy. I know they look bad against Denver. That's cool. A lot of people look bad against Denver.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to wins at the end of the year. So right now it's Patrick Mahomes plus 125. I mean, you can't bet on somebody on week 8 who's plus 125. Josh Allen at 350. I just really haven't been impressed by Buffalo this year. Baker Mayfield or Drake May at plus 475. The New England might have a good record, but I don't think people are going to believe it at the end of the year. They're one of those early knockout teams in the playoffs. Baker at 11-1. I mean, they're getting it done, but once again, another team people don't believe in. They love Baker, but I don't think people really like the Bucs.
I think
Stafford 11.
Absolutely love Baker if all the receivers were healthy. Like his stat line's not going to look good enough. It just won't.
True. Stafford 11-1. That one's kind of interesting. I mean, if you believe in the Rams continuing to get it done, they've shown that they're going to do it through the air this year. He's he's throwing career numbers in his passer rating. He had 4 passing touchdowns right before the bye. So at 11-1, not a bad deal. Jared Goff at 18-1. No one's ever going to vote on him. Daniel Jones 20-1. I think eventually Indy stumbles somewhere along the way. Jonathan Taylor, 21. Never seen that before as a running back. It's been years. So I don't know. Jalen Hurts, 25-1. The Eagles could easily be the 1 seed at the end of things, and he could rush for 10 touchdowns. He's starting to throw the ball for 250 plus in most games right now. So I don't know. I like him at 25-1.
Give me JT, man. I want to believe this year, and especially with the Colts O-line, the avenues he's going down are literally the size of like a small building. So he is just able to get a full head of speed. He could do it this year. It's been nice. Like, my worst teams are buoyed by Jonathan Taylor. Having that guy as my number one best ball exposure running back has never felt better.
His advance rate is in the 60s right now. I mean, it's disgusting. And I ended up hard fading him unintentionally. I mean, I was never going to be overweight on him, but I ended up so underweight, and it's been bad news bears. But I started hedging against him, bet him for 3 touchdowns last week, which did cash. So, countering the bad takes early on.
Hell yeah. I mean, to be honest, you've had enough good takes even throughout the beginning of this season that I think we are going to be in a good spot there. Let's hit it straight over to probably my most interesting game of this week. I don't know if the betting lines are great. I didn't know how you'd feel about this one, but you had a couple ones on here, so I'm happy to hear that you have some thoughts. The Vikings are at the Detroit Lions. It's minus 8.5, over under a 48.5 here. I think that the Vikings lines are really, really fun if you believe in J.J. McCarthy. If you don't, then I think the unders are also great because you're looking at like 218 for JJM. And I think he'll run the ball a little bit. I think that you'll have an opportunity to see him get something going with his legs. But I also think that Justin Jefferson at 74.5 feels safe. I know he only had 6 and 7 with J.J. McCarthy in the first 2 starts. I would hope he figured that out with Kevin O'Connell. If he didn't, that's freaking crazy. But what are you feeling about this game? Because I might be on the Viking side.
I think I'm on the Lions side on this one. Coming off the bye, the Lions have looked really good. They didn't need to turn on the Jets against the Buccaneers, which I kind of expected them to do. This is a divisional game, which I think that they won't be afraid to keep firing on all cylinders. I do believe in J.J. McCarthy, at least more than the market does at this point. The amount of people who are out on this guy who's played 7 healthy quarters, and one of those quarters was ridiculously good. I mean, calm down, people. Like, this guy's played 6 less games than Cam Ward at this point. The one quarter he played was maybe a better quarter than Bryce Young's played all year. Like, let's give this guy a chance. People are calling for his head. It's soft benching after 2 games. I mean, I think the guy was just hurt. It's okay. It's okay. He was hurt.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely seems like he's been hurt now, but I think that was a big thing that they said early on, that they weren't trying to have a really quality backup in there so that there wouldn't be any you should bench him for Daniel Jones, for example. Like, people were talking about how if they had somebody like that the pressure on the guy might be just far too high for him to actually execute in the way that they'd want him to. So, I would agree. I think that, the sentiment's been weird, but we'll see. I mean, JJ...
He was 1-1.
No, yeah.
No one's benching somebody who's 1-1. It's okay. It's okay to be 1-1. They're not expecting to win the division this year. I think they know that going in. They're looking to develop their team, right? So
yes.
I'm confused. I think we've gone out of our skis here.
Away.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the Lions in this one?
Yeah, so a line that stood out to me is JMO's lines are ridiculously low. Now, doesn't mean you've been winning on these lines, despite how low they've been, but over the break, coach was talking about getting JMO more involved. I like JMO and Goff anytime they're home in the Dome. So a perfect game for the offense to go off. They are going to take on 2 road games after that. Probably spots to maybe not be on JMO and Goff, but this game here, and then you have, I think, 4 or 5 in a row to close the season in the Dome. So people are selling JMO for absolutely nothing right now. If you can get him for RB3, I think he could be a key flex piece to close out the season on a really high scoring offense. So this week his line is 1 yard longer than Sam Laporta. I just have to be taking it, and I'm probably going to look for his 70 plus line later this week because it only takes 2 catches for JMO to get there. And Minnesota's pass defense has been pretty middle tier. Usually they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but the Lions are incredibly healthy right now on both sides of the ball, and I think they will actually dominate this game. Though I think that does open up a good J.J. McCarthy spot to attack the following week. So I am circling Minnesota for the next game after this one.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think that the Lions' defense is exploitable, so I think even if they blow them out, that it's possible that this will be one where we get to see some fireworks on both ends. But speaking of fireworks, we have probably the most fun game of the week, and I'm not just saying that because I'm wearing my Chicago shirt, but we have the Bears at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is not favored, crazy enough. That actually threw me off by quite a bit. The Bears have -2.5, over under 51.5. There were like no lines available on this one because we're still waiting on news on DeAndre Swift, on Joe Flacco. But honestly, I feel like there will be so many lines I will like in this game once they come out. Which one's standing out to you?
Yeah, as you said, the lines aren't out yet, so it's hard to pick off what we really want, though. Adunze seems to be in another great spot. I think I found him in a ladder option on Underdog, so played a couple of those together. My buddy Dan and I decided that was a fun new thing we want to play. So I don't know if you've played the ladders yet, but it seems like rooting for ceiling. Basically, you pick 3 to 5 players, and they have different tiers. Their first tier is some like Green Goblin kind of on Prize Picks, where it's just gonna be a lower line. Then the next tier is more of what their actual line is, and then the final tier would be some sort of ladder point. And if you hit all 3 in the first tier, then you basically like get your money back. And then if you hit the next tier, it's like 5x your money. And if you get all of them to the ladder, then you can hit 100x your money or 500x your money. So yeah, 100x. So it's pretty cool. I mean, last week I was talking about Jefferson and Barkley would have need one more. Jefferson didn't end up hitting, but Barkley easily would have cleared his ladder. This week, we'll talk about the Colts game in a little bit, but I think there's a couple ladder candidates in that one, especially since I don't think the Josh Downs injury has been factored in. But before we leave this game, I'm going to be looking at Loveland again. He hasn't gotten it done on the stat sheet yet, but he's been running a ton of routes. I know Cole Kmet's coming back, but I think that'll keep his line down. And in reality, Cincinnati's defense against tight ends has been atrocious. Stat from Hayden Winks from Underdog over on X was saying the Bengals are giving up 18.3 points per game to tight end, which is more points than 18 defenses, so greater than half the league, are giving up to quarterbacks every week. So the worst position in fantasy football is actually outscoring the best position in fantasy football on over half the teams. So you just got to attack this one. No one's going to believe his number's going to be back in the 20s. And sure enough, he's going to go for 50, 60 on Sunday. So I can't wait to talk about Loveland next week on the show.
I buy it. I'm totally with you on that one. I think Loveland is going to pay off. This is your Travion Henderson, though. I do want to, point this out to you that, each week I tell everyone how they should still believe in Travion Henderson. You're doing the exact same thing for Colston Loveland, and I appreciate it.
Luckily, his lines have been so low that it's hit about 50% of the time anyway. So this week I actually stayed off of it because I thought the line was a little bit high with the whole Kmet news being out. Everyone was factoring that in. We didn't see all that much from the Bears on Sunday. I mean, they were kind of in catch-up mode most of the day. So let's go back to the well. Screw it.
You didn't watch that game. Yeah, I know you didn't watch that game because they weren't in catch-up mode. They had that game in the bag, and they just let it slip away. But that is what the Bears do. They just had unopportune time or penalties in the red zone. But I could talk about the Bears all day. I will move us along to Indianapolis at Pittsburgh. Indy is -3, and the first one that stood out to me, just looking at this one, over-under is 50.5 here, is Indy -3 seems so freaking low.
Yeah. Trap spot. They are due for a letdown game. Tomlin at home. We went with this angle last week. It didn't pan out against Green Bay. I don't know. I'm not going to bet against Indy. I don't think. I don't think I'm going to bet on Tomlin. But kind of like the over. I don't know. There was a lot of high over-unders this week. We got 50.5 here, 51.5 in the Chicago game, 48.5 in that Minnesota game. Tonight's is 50. I mean, we got a couple games below that, or 48, 53.5 in the Dallas game. So it looks like it's time to put up a couple 200-point performances in fantasy this week. Seems like we got some pretty good offensive spots, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think this will be a fun one. You know, the big thing that I would say in this one is, although I don't think that Indy is going to have a letdown, I do think their passing game is going to be a letdown, largely because Jonathan Taylor has been such a huge part of that offense, as he should be. He's been fantastic, but Pittsburgh's run defense has been just atrocious. They got gashed by Emmanuel Wilson last week. Josh Jacobs looked bad, but Josh Jacobs has looked bad this whole year, to be perfectly frank. And they've been gashed by other teams as well. You know, we saw Cincy put up a solid game against them a couple weeks back as well. And I think that Indy is going to be able to just run the ball straight up the middle and beat their butts.
Indy has been crushing teams that way, and Pittsburgh's defense has been getting crushed. So, but I am currently on the other side of that, maybe not on the Jones side, but I am currently attacking Pittman, Pearsall, and kind of Warren, though his line is pretty lofty at 56.5.
Pierce.
But right
Pearson,
now,
right?
Pierce. Yes, did I say Pearsall?
Yeah.
Yes.
You got Ricky on the mind.
God, because I want him back so bad. Need him for the big Elim team. So Pittman's at 53.5 right now. He's been crushing this line, and we're not expecting Josh Downs to play this week. He's got a hip injury, and he didn't practice yesterday. He didn't practice today. So I think that this line is stale right now. I'd grab it if you can find it. I'd expect this up to around 60 by the time we get to game time. Same thing with Alec Pierce's line. Yeah. Alec Pierce, his lines have been in the high 30s, and he's been crushing this every week. He had the concussion, and it allowed us to kind of forget about him, came back, caught a couple more deep balls. So he was one of the individuals that we put in the ladder, actually, because his first rung was 30 yards, his second rung was 44, and his third rung's 100. I mean, it only takes Alec Pierce 4 or 5 balls to get to 100. So against a pretty poor Pittsburgh pass defense, I'm attacking these numbers now because I do think by the time we get to Sunday, they'll be up considerably once the Downs news is fully out. I mean, people know it, and we're like, yeah, that's factored into the lines. But sure enough, every time someone gets marked out, the line moves. So get it while you can.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's because you see movement from people as they realize those players are out. Like, Josh Downs is one that I didn't even get into the show sheet in time, but, like, I would entirely agree. Pittman's shown enough that 53 is just not an adequate line for him at this junction. A-Rod, I like him over 224 this week. I narrowly missed out on $100 on a 3-leg parlay reliant on Aaron Rodgers getting 220 yards on the underdog lobby, and he got 219.
I got cooked on Aaron Rodgers last week. I was like, revenge spot for Rodgers. He is such a greedy mofo that he's all about this, and he laid a dud.
Yeah, I know. And even the team looked fine on it, too. Like, I'll be honest, that one pick that they got over DK Metcalf absolutely annoyed the shit out of me. I'm like, dude, you are 6'4", the most athletic, or at least the strongest, at least the largest and fastest player on the field. Catch the freaking ball there. Like, box him out. Show a little bit of to it. Like, DK is having the most interesting wide receiver one season I've seen in some time. And I'm happy about it because I called that out before the year. I thought that it would work. This is not how I thought it would work. I thought he was going to get 100 trillion targets.
This is
think
DK
he's
Metcalf.
really-
I mean, this is the DK Metcalf experience. It always has been. In Seattle, it was too. He put up his 200 sleeper points a year. It would come in spikes. It would come in TDs. You get random duds. I mean, this is just who he is. And clearly the scenery didn't matter too much. So, and he's only in a passing offense that's throwing for about 200 yards a game.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's the whole logic behind it, and he is your wide receiver 6, 7, somewhere in there.
Getting it done, definitely a good pick. Definitely a good pick at cost right now. So, good.
I mean,
hats off to you.
It's just weird. Hey, the hat's staying on because it is terrifying as all hell watching a DK Metcalf game and expecting it to go well because you're like, it doesn't look good. He dropped one. Oh, I guess he caught a 40-yard touchdown. Cool. Like it's like JMO from last year, honestly. Not what.
Yeah, but a lot are going his way this year. So, and I expect more to be going JMO's way. Let's get back to what he was at the end of the year.
Oh, I thought it was. You saw my trade where I got rid of ETN for Krosky, Merritt, and JMO. I felt great about that one because JMO, I think, is just criminally undervalued in the dynasty streets. Like, we got some fun games here, but let's quickly soliloquy on Jameson Williams. Like, what is going on with the sentiment on this guy? Like, I was lower on him than ADP before the season. I felt good about that call, and I still do. But I wasn't lower on him in Dynasty. Like, come on. The guy's like 24.
Yeah, I've noticed that Dynasty people, even though they know it's a Dynasty and they know it's for the long term, they don't actually think with the long term. I know the guy who you traded with, and he's definitely a chronic short-term thinker when it comes to fantasy football. So, ETN, RB2, a very replaceable position. We're in a 2-flex dynasty league, which those spike guys being in that flex are so crucial. Yeah, okay, you can take a 0 or something, but you can also take a 30 in the flex role. I mean, that's a spot of domination. So I'm loving my dynasty team. I don't know what happened, but she's cooking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, my dynasty teams are cooking aside from our league, and that's fine. I'm not worried about my team because it's young as shit, too, and eventually somebody will trade for Daniel Jones. I refuse to believe that he has no value in this league. But regardless, I keep getting offered seconds for him, and I'm like, cool, it's a super flex dynasty league. You can absolutely F off. But we'll get into that at the end of the season. Me and JC are compiling all the mean things that people have said to us to do kind of a good people, bad tweets sort of thing. Just year in review of people calling. My favorite one so far has been somebody just boldly put on there, "You're a fucking moron." And to be honest, I respect it. If you feel that way, say it like that. I can't even be mad about that. Lakers fan 24, more power to you. So, moving on. We got Kansas City and Buffalo here. It is -2 for Kansas City, 52.5 point over-under. We got no Pacheco in this one. We do have Dalton Kincaid. How are you feeling about this game?
I think Kansas City's going to win. They're the better team. Though doesn't Josh Allen owe Mahomes one still?
He owes him like 7 or 8. But
I mean, Kansas City's been the better team on both sides of the ball the entire season. You're like, what's the number one crew on the field? Kansas City defense, maybe the best unit. And then Kansas City offense and Buffalo offense, relatively similar. And then Buffalo defense, by far the worst unit on the field.
Yeah, that's fair. Buffalo defense has been weak. The line that stood out to me the most here, because I like all the Kansas City lines this week. 46 for Worthy's great. 46 for Kelsey's great. I'm okay with either of those. James Cook at 76.5 is a weird line. I don't really get that one. I think that Kansas City's defense, I'm a big JCM believer because my co-host Chev absolutely called that one early in the year. And every person's been hopping off that train, which more power to them. You can hop off whatever train you want. I think that the JCM train's a little bit premature because we have just seen this Kansas City defense absolutely shut down the running back position. They held Ashton Jeanty to about 26 yards. They held Gibbs to 55. They held JCM to 28 and a half. I think that they're just going to do the same thing. James Cook is a good running back, possibly great, but he's not Jahmyr Gibbs, and the Buffalo offense isn't the Detroit offense.
Yeah, I took an under on JSN on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago, and just remember how horrible it is to take unders on good players. And this year, James Cook is a top 3 running back. So as smart as your line may be, as sharp as it may be, I'm just not interested in going for it. He's going to rush for 20 yards on his third carry, and you're going to be like, what a stupid bet. Why did I do this to myself? Even if it is good, like, strong walls break down too. And every game is different. If this was the playoffs, I think maybe I'm more inclined on that, just because you usually see the best out of everybody. But I don't disagree with you. I just don't know that I want to take it.
You aren't wrong. You aren't wrong there. And you can just call me Captain Underpants, because that is the line that I am feeling today. But aside from that, I like Kincaid over 37.5.
I got screwed on him last week, so I'm done. The one catch from him, that's who he is. He's playing 55% of snaps. He's catching 2 to 3 balls a game. I'm sure this line is perfectly fine, especially in a high-scoring game. What I want to ask here is, whose revenge game is it again? Is it Worthy's revenge game, or is it Keon Coleman's? Like, who traded up to be drafted in front of the other?
Neither.
Did the Bills trade up to go in front of Kansas City? Like, they swapped picks last year. So who went first?
I'm pretty sure Keon Coleman went first. I'm like
perfect.
99%.
Xavier Worthy revenge game. Circle it. Everyone's been focusing on Rice. Kelsey went off for over almost 100 yards the other day. We're out here talking about everybody except for Xavier Worthy was bypassed, and he's going to show Keon Coleman, who's done absolutely nothing other than 1 quarter of football this year, how much better of a player he was.
What a great quarter. What a great quarter.
What a quarter. All the best ball bros drafting him in the 90s were stoked. They're like, yeah, we got our guy.
We should have believed that training camp film that didn't look great. A rare time when we could have made that analysis just based on what we saw in the practice field. But let's move it on to Seattle at Washington. Seattle is favored away from home, 48-point over-under. Jaden Daniels is back. How are we feeling about this one? Because I have a couple spots I like in this game, and I think they're mostly unders.
Yeah, I like Seattle still. I don't love Washington. 3 on the road. I mean, it seems that Seattle is marked in the market roughly 6-point better than Washington. Over-under is 48, but Seattle is perfectly content to just strangle the opponent and keep things underneath, and then just slowly slice and dice the field to JSN. They've been running the ball a ton. I see you noted in here the Seattle running backs. What I'm struggling with is I just never know who. I mean, I was on Kenneth Walker before the break. I was on him before the break. It was his birthday. They dominated, and he just barely hit his over. So here we are again. I know Charbonnet's was in the 40s. That's a little high for me, especially since he's doing mostly goal line work. But what do you got? Like 57.5 for Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, 57.5 is what I have for him, and I think that's a good bet.
Washington defense has been bad. I mean, they haven't stopped anybody.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt looked good against him too. Yeah, I'm just willing to continue to believe in K-Dub, like 24/7, 8 days a week. I think that he is a great running back. I'm inclined to think that he is going to be able to put up the points that he needs to, but we'll see.
That's the Sunday night game. So you got to have something to root for. Might as well be rooting for K-Dub. So let's see. What do we have this week? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, my favorite. 8 morning games, so we can have 3 whole afternoon games. And one of the afternoon games is the shittiest game of the week, Rams-Saints. And then there's also this ugly Raiders-Jaguars game. So I guess it's going to be all eyes on Bills-Chiefs.
Yeah, it definitely will. And it will be a fun red zone of watching Patty Mahomes. But I do agree though. You mentioned not wanting to take unders on good players. I think that JSN 96.5 is insane. That's so high.
It's so high, but he's done it. He's done it over and over and over again. It doesn't matter the game script. I mean, his worst half was the first half against Arizona, and then he absolutely came out and dominated the second half. It's almost too much to take the over, but as I said, I tried this last week. I think it was on Monday Night Football. I was in St. Louis, and I was like, all right, I hit my BTJ under receiving yards. We got another really good pass defense in Houston. Let's go 2 for 2 on big boy unders this week. And it was so not fun to watch whatsoever. He made me look like a fool. And that was against Stingley and co. So coming off the bye, I just can't. He's been slicing and dicing people. And as I said, this Washington defense sucks.
Yeah, it really does. You aren't wrong there. But let's move on to the highest over-under of the week. Somehow, Arizona at Dallas, 53.5 over under, -2.5 to Dallas. I circled this one, started, highlighted it 6 times. Dallas -7, minimum. I might go Dallas -14. Get good odds.
Yeah, it's another one of those get-up spots for the Cowboys coming off of a stinker. They're at home, which they typically play better. The Cardinals have gotten by with Brissett, but come on, we know Brissett's not that good. We got Kyler Murray coming back this week. Might be a little less mobile than we're used to, but he's been less than stellar. So I tried to convince ChatGPT on the under here. It continued to steer me towards the over, so I will stay away from this total for sure. But Jerry World, the new shootout location of 2025.
I love that too. It's fun, and I like the Marv over in this one too at 55.5. We've seen Marv go up and down, but I think that it is finally time to see him actually put together a complete game, and I think they're going to. But we'll see.
Yeah, maybe a Marv touchdown. I don't know what the odds are. If they're even, I don't love it, but if they're like plus 150, that'd be awesome.
I thought they were like plus 120 when I tracked. But okay. I have 12 sports books downloaded on my phone, so I could have
a perk of living in California. I don't have to balance all the sports books. An anti-perk. I don't get all the lines. I don't get the best lines, but it keeps my life simpler.
Promos.
Oh my gosh, I get enough promos on Sleeper and Underdog to keep me satisfied for now.
Oh, my wife looked at my phone one time and she was like, "Is this how many notifications you get all the time?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "No, that's not okay."
Just during football season, it's fine. It's only a few months of the year.
And then sometimes during the NBA season, it's like, who's to say?
I've had to give up all other sports. I just do too much football these days, other than casually watch.
Yeah, the Bulls look good this year. 4-0.
Crushed the Kings last night, dominating. Even with Levine.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I live in Sacramento, so it was fun. I was here for the Beam team. I had just moved into Sacramento, ended up with some pretty cheap playoff tickets, got to go to game 5 and 7 after we sold game 1 and 3, and of course they lost 5 and 7, and the Beam team is no more. Now we're just the old guys. I mean, it is incredible how old this team is. Like Russell Westbrook, Schroeder.
4 years ago.
Yeah, this is the Bulls. Yeah, we have Levine, DeRozan. But something to look forward to when they make all the moves and we become the worst. The problem is they're going to win 35 games.
Yeah.
Back to football.
They are. Oh, yeah. Moving it along here, we will go straight into San Francisco -2 against the New York Giants at 48.5 for the over-under. I think you are going to be leading on this one, so I'm going to get my takes out quickly. 1, Tyrone Tracy, I think, will dominate the rush share. 2, I think that the 48 over-under is way too high. I think Jackson Dart might have a bit of a stinker in this one. I think we are finally going to see his luck run out. And 3, Wan'Dale Robinson continues to be an okay wide receiver 1 for the Giants. Weird.
Oh, man. Well, when he's your only option, that's what you're stuck with. So The under is what stood out to me at first as well. I was looking at it, it was 48.5, then it was 48, so I grabbed that last night. Looks like it's pushing back towards 48.5, so there is some money going the other direction, but San Francisco is averaging just 20 points a game, 26th in the league. They're taking on the Giants, who give up 25.3 points per game. Their defense has been a lot less desirable than expected, but the Niners are still banged up. We still don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be this week. I think we've determined that Mac Jones is a bottom third of the league type starter, but Brock Purdy is the better QB. We're not going to have Pearsall back this week. Jennings continues to not impress. Though I do think we see a good running game from McCaffrey. So we saw that 2 games ago with Kittle coming back. They barely ran the ball last week at all as they got blown out to Houston. Probably going to be looking at McCaffrey rushing touchdown and maybe his rushing over. San Francisco been missing the key pieces, and I agree with you that the Giants, Dart has been running white hot, and now he's lost his 2 biggest weapons. I think they still have some mediocre talent, but it's just going to be really hit and miss. Niners had their stinger last week, and it kind of motivates me to be on the Niners this week. I mean, we don't think the Giants are very good, do we?
I can't imagine that they are. I thought their defense would look better than it has so far. That's been the big thing that's caught me off guard. I really am weirded out by the fact that the Niners are able to continue winning with the lack of talent on their roster, seemingly. Like, the fact that Kendrick Bourne is able to put up a 180-yard game in that system, just, I'm not a big coach, runs the system and makes the biggest difference kind of guy. Like, you see Aaron Rodgers turn DK Metcalf into a wide receiver one just because he does that. But Kyle Shanahan has made that team look like a contender, despite the fact that there is no indicator that they should be a contender with the number of players they have out.
It is pretty crazy how they've been doing. They are working with the league's easiest schedule this year. They're going to have a tough game coming up against the Rams next week in a spot where the Rams are thirsty. And then I noticed that we have an absolutely lovely Niner game coming up on Monday Night Football against the Panthers to kick off our Thanksgiving week. So very thankful that there'll be 3 games on Thursday that week and a game on Friday to wash the taste of the Niners dominating Carolina at home on November 24th.
So you just added a game to our show sheet, which is allowed, but I just want you to know that if I had seen it earlier, I would have added a word to the end of it, and that word would be skip. So tell me why we should care about Houston versus the Broncos.
The only reason I'm bringing that up is because this is a very similar spot to last week where we're looking at the line and we're like, Houston is favored by 1.5 at home against the Niners, which creeped out to 2, which creeped out to 2.5. And then it was like, what does Vegas know? The Niners are the better team. What does Vegas know? And Houston crushed them. Same situation this week. Houston was minus 1.5. Now Houston's minus 2 at home. The Broncos have been dominating people. Seems to be a step back spot for the Broncos. So I don't know. Maybe I get caught in the trap. Like, last week they knew something, but this week they don't. But to me, this seems like another spot where Vegas knows something. Because when I'm in the pick'em pool and I see that 80% of people are on the underdog side of things, it means that people are too confident in one side.
Okay, yeah, I like you on that one, and I think you might be onto something, but I don't want you to be, because why is this Houston team so freaking hard to, peg down? I want to see their offense make sense. We saw Jaden Higgins get involved. We saw Jalen Noel get involved last week, and still, Xavier Hutchinson is the biggest part of their offense. Still, Woody Marks can't conjure up 12 carries. They just have to give Nick Chubb up the middle 15 carries a game and be the most weirdly annoying team to watch in football.
Gotta do it. Gotta get Chubb those carries. Gotta do it. But Woody Marks has taken that over.
Chubb with that play.
Woody Marks has taken over overall. I do love him a lot on playoff runs for your fantasy team. So if someone's willing to part with Marks as a running back 3 right now because he's only splitting work, definitely a target for me. So just in this game, I do think that CJ Stroud is under pressure a lot. Last time this happened, which was against Seattle, I noticed that he was checking the ball down to Nico Collins over and over and over again. So I kind of like the Nico receptions over this week. You can get over 5.5 at plus money, and he was well on his way to that at Seattle before he got that concussion. He's basically only been putting up 4 catches a game, so that's why we're getting plus money there. But I do expect Benito and company to put on a lot of pressure, and we know that the Broncos' back end is a little weaker without Patrick Surtain. He hasn't practiced this week, and he won't be playing the game, but I do expect a lot of checkdowns. So I do prefer his receptions over his yards this week for Nico.
Yeah, I agree. And with Christian Kirk back, it's just terrifying to take any of the rookies. So you might get good lines with them, but I wouldn't take them.
I mean, it depends how low Knowles' line goes. That would be the only one I'd be interested in. I definitely would not touch Higgins at all. Higgins is a direct replacement for Nico. He's been terrible. He's been terrible.
Yeah. The fact that we don't agree on this one shows how bad of a bet this is.
Yeah.
Because both of us are talking through our teeth. Neither of us are taking these lines.
I don't really want to watch this game anyway. God, it's going to be on the small TV.
You know what? Skip. Skip on this one. So we are almost at the end of our time here. This has been a good show. Don't know how long it's gone because we dicked around and talked for a couple minutes at the beginning. But you got any props that stood out to you this week?
Yeah, still just shuffling through. Thursday's an early day, but good to get them if you can find them. So I haven't seen Bowers in my offshore book yet, but I have seen his lines on Underdog and Sleeper. He is 50.5 on Sleeper and 51.5 on Underdog. They're treating this like Bowers is still banged up, and I think that he's full health, and we will remember who Brock Bowers is this week after coming out of the bye against a pretty terrible Jackson defense. So what's going on over there?
I mean, it's like this is gonna premiere on Halloween. Just figured I'd get some spooky season in here for anybody listening through the podcast. Boo. That's probably
boo.
Get him. No, I'm here with a skeleton. I'm wearing some horns. We had a Halloween party this past week. I'm still working off a hangover. But that has been our show this week. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. This has been another Two Guys, One Pod show. I am Addi the Nardugnar. You can find me at Duck League Champ and on the app and Google Play Store as called the League Champ app. Wow, what a promo, Addison. Scott, tell them where he can find you.
Yeah, I'm Chonks, your Chow Chow Champ. Find me in the Underdog Streets, or you can find me on X as SMaltest. So enjoying this every week. Feel like we're starting to get the hang of this, and looking forward to some good yields. So about time to get to that Thursday night game. We're looking for a shootout. Make sure you get those receiving props in. Rashad Bateman, over 33.5. A last-second adder if you got time.
Oh, yeah. DeAndre Hopkins, take that line.
Under 4.5 receiving yards. Yeah, take that line.
Oh, my God.
9.5. Sorry, that's probably the line. Take the under.
Take that over. All right, you guys have a good night, and we will catch you later.